Hi everyone, my name is Alex Carlson. I am an adult services librarian at the Westmont Public Library, and today I'm going to be doing a brief demonstration on how to use a smartphone device to actually record and save family stories right to your phone, and then how you can do a quick fun project to share those with people. So in essence, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using, at least this is a Apple iPhone that I'm working on, and we are going to be using the voice memos feature that's built into this, but just about any smart device, Android phone, Apple iPhone, Apple tablet like an iPad or an Android tablet, has some kind of voice memo or voice recording capability, or you can download something from one of their free app stores in order to access that kind of functionality. But really, what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to be showing you kind of like the brief steps, a way to record a conversation with a family member, a way to kind of like archive those stories, how it's really easy, and how it's something you can really do to kind of like really do some family preservation. I've actually been working on this for a amount of time now. I have been cataloging and recording some stories from my parents, from my grandmother before she passed away, and it's been really rewarding to be able to go back and review those and listen to those later on. So, like I said, one of the apps that we're going to be using, at least on the iPhone side of things, is going to be the Voice Memos app. You can see it on my screen right here in the top left. It says Voice Memos. It's a black and red icon. I'm going to tap on that. And we're going to take a look at what it says. So this one has a few different examples of recordings. This one's got four of my recordings um, on here right now. Sawgrass is actually my address, so that's why it's appearing there. And I got one labeled home and one labeled work. But it's very straightforward to actually get into these and just start doing it. All we need to do is tap this big red button at the bottom, and by tapping that, you can actually see that it's picking up on the sounds of my voice right there, kind of double recording in a way. Picking up on the sounds of my voice, it gives a timer and it gives a stop function. When I tap on that stop function, it's going to stop. And you can see right here that it gives me Sawgrass Drive 3. That's a third recording that I've done at this address. And kind of like go through a couple of these. So I don't need that one, so I'm just going to tap on the delete. But what I can do to review it, I can just hit play. And by tapping that, you can actually see that it's picking up on the sounds of my voice, right? And then you can hear me recording while I'm recording, which is a little weird to kind of think about. But then I can also skip back and forth, like back 15 seconds, forward 15 seconds. Or if I tap on this little ellipsis to the left-hand side, it gives me a few different options to share. We're going to be using this in a future project, not this particular clip, but the one actually underneath it, Sawgrass Drive number 2. So I'm going to delete that one for right now. And actually, the recently deleted recordings are still saved. Look at all recordings and I tap on this arrow at the top left. It'll take me back here. So in case you delete something by accident, you can actually go into here, see what it was, and bring it back out so you didn't fully lose it. At the bottom right on this iPhone, we see a little folder with a plus icon. If I tap on that, I can make a recording for specific projects. And on my computer, which is what I've used for a lot of them, I have one called Conversations with Dad, which are conversations with my dad. That's where I've been saving them and recording them. And I'll just say I'll build one on here as well. The actual conversation we're going to be using is actually going to be a conversation with my wife, Katie, and she can tell you a story. So I'm going to say conversation with Katie, and we're going to do that. Now, if I go back to all recordings and I hit edit and I select the one that I had with my wife earlier today, 2-minute conversation, I'm going to move that to conversations with Katie. Now it says it's still under all recordings, and that makes sense because all recordings is literally going to show everything on my device. But if I go back and now I go to conversations with Katie, it's got that one right there. I can even edit the title of that, not right now, but I can just move it. But you can kind of like if I edit the recording and if I want to change the title right here, I can. I can do, let's give it today's date. Today was the 7th, so 2/7/21. and that will make sense later on. And then we'll just hit done, and there we go. A little bit more direct. That changes it here as well, back in the all recording section. What we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be taking that in a bit and adding it to just some images, just to kind of give you an idea.
Okay, so I got an image of my pup, my dog Milo, up here right now. We are going to use this as a little bit of an intro into seeing the conversation or the brief project that I put together between my wife telling a story about one of our trips to New Orleans. Okay, hi. Oh, and we're using the voice memo app on my iPhone now to make a recording. This will be kind of like a good example of something you can easily do on multiple devices, as voice memoing is a easy and free service. It's built into the iPhone, and it's an easy app you can also download on other devices. And so my wife Katie is with me, and she's going to tell us a brief story from the beginning part of our relationship that's fun and library appropriate.
All right, so we had taken a trip to New Orleans, which is my favorite place. I wanted to share it with Alex. And we were on our way home. We had a late night flight. We were supposed to leave at like 8 o'clock, and the flight got delayed. Then it got delayed again. Then it got delayed again. And finally, at 1 o'clock in the morning, they canceled the flight. Now, this is when Alex had just started working at Westmont Public Library, and he wanted to get back in time for work. But it was 1 a.m. and had no way to communicate with everybody because it was so late. So there were no flights available. They couldn't give us a flight voucher. They couldn't give us a hotel voucher. They couldn't give us anything. So we decided to stay at a hotel and rent a car first thing in the morning, because there were no flights until 3 days later, which would not have worked for us. So we decided to drive from New Orleans to Chicago all in one straight shot back home, and it took about 13 hours. We made minimal stops, and we made it home by 1 a.m. the next day. But it was quite an unexpected road trip adventure. But we had fun, and it turned out to be a great story.
And there you go. With an easy app like that, you can see just a quick recording can turn into an easy family history. And really with that, you can see how easy it is to kind of like quickly whip something together. Not a professional at this by any stretch of the imagination, but with a couple of pictures and a voice memo, you can add that into being a preserved memory that you can save in a variety of places. I've got a little slideshow of dog pics to finish this out as I talk over it. There are a couple ways that you can go around about saving those files once you're finished with them. I have used a variety of things, and I can just share what I have done. I have used things like a online folder like Dropbox or Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. Those all work really similar. Apple iCloud, they all work very similar, and they all work really well for these kind of things where you can just kind of store the files, not have to worry about them. It's as organized as much or as little as you want it to be. I would recommend putting in some kind of organization, such as like a name, date, to kind of give it a little bit of that to kind of like organize it, and then like organizing it through subfolders from there. But if you want to have fun with it and you want to create little like conversations and movies that can easily be shared, what I did with Katie, the easiest thing to do really is to upload it to a video sharing website like Facebook, like YouTube, like Vimeo. And one of those will be really, really useful to be able to not only preserve these family stories, preserve these historical conversations, but also, being able to share them with other family members who are not very close. I mentioned earlier, I had been recording conversations with my dad, with both my parents actually. And I am one of 5 kids, and being able to kind of like record a story with my dad and then being able to just kind of like to share that out with my siblings so that they have access to it too has been really rewarding and really nice. It's definitely something that I think everybody should really get involved in, kind of like preserving their own family history, as I think it's something great to do. And one of the best ways to do that is to kind of share the stories that are passed down from generation to generation. There are more things you can do to preserve family history. You can work with a scanner like we have at the Westmont Library to actually like scan documents, photos, and to make digital copies of those that can be saved in a variety of areas. And, I'd recommend looking into that as well. But, this is just kind of meant to be a encouraging step to show that, anybody with a smartphone can start archiving their family's history, start saving that kind of stuff. And the sooner you start, the easier it becomes and the easier it is to, one, get comfortable at it, feel good about it, but also being able to, not make it seem like such an insurmountable task. And you don't want to wait till it's too late. I definitely have learned that recently with the passing of my grandmother. So definitely take the time if you can. Feel free to reach out to me at the library. Again, my name is Alex. I'm an adult services librarian at the Westmont Public Library, and I'd be happy to answer any and all questions you might have about preserving your family history. Have a great day, everyone.